music to the noise, yeah, the mess we make. Machine Pun Kelly get caught in the fray. Facts and logic with a twist of chest. Strip it down to truth, yeah, forget the rest. Humor blows the lies right out of the park. Look beyond the shadows that set the dark. Sparks of laughter fire up the night, bringing clarity when they blur the fight. Cut through the chaos, yeah, the tangled rise. Steampunk Kelly with a set of clear eyes. Truths and jokes gonna rock this show. Step into light where the real facts glow.
So hello.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. We're almost to Friday.
Almost. One more day. Can we make it? I don't know. We'll see.
It's called Thursday because by the time it rolls around, you're thirsting for Friday.
That's right. Excited about today. We got a lot to cover as we promised yesterday. Also, no internet problems. Back in the office. Glad to be here in my comfy old school leather wingback chair that I repurposed, reupholstered, and everything. It's awesome. But yeah, so
wow, you reupholstered it by yourself? You did that?
Well, no, sorry, no, I refurbished it. Didn't reupholster, but it had rips in the leather, so I actually had to repair the leather, and I did a pretty decent job. It's like a rosy peach colored, kind of like dusty pink. And it came out pretty well. This is probably like a $400 chair. I got it for $10 at a thrift store. So yeah, it's my baby.
When it comes to like any kind of DIY project, I'm like definitely the type of person that you're like, oh, that's a DIY. I mean, like I am not handy. I'll just put it that way, you know. Like I'm lucky if I can get the assembled furniture right. You know, like the IKEA furniture. If I can assemble it right the first time. You ever do it like where you kind of get like almost you got one thing left to put in, and then
you're missing.
Then you're like you realize that you did the first part upside down, so then you have to disassemble the entire thing and then reassemble it.
Yes. For this desk here, it's a L-shaped desk, and like the top, this layer, this side of the desk is higher than this one. And it was a feat to put this one together. I ended up with like hardware that was left over, and I was like, that definitely has somewhere it needs to go. So I had to start all over again, but powered through it, made it work.
So just wanna I'm impressed. You did a good job there on your chair. So just to welcome everybody. Once again, if you would like to appear on the show, I have a link on all three accounts on the Twitter account, the Facebook account, and the YouTube account. That if you click on that link, it's the StreamYard link there, and it will let you what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, join. Hi Shannon. So you can just join, and then you can just either choose to share your lovely face or hide your lovely face. It's all up to you, but we would need to hear your voice. So you'd
love to hear your voice. Yeah.
Unless you just want to like jump on and show us how pretty you are, you know, which and the other thing, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, then if you don't mind, then if you could join us on the YouTube link, it works a little better for us. It's not a big difference, but we're trying to get to where we're monetized. We are only about 24 hours. I mean, it's a coincidence, but like 24 hours of watch time, not like 24 hours a day, but like 24 hours of total watch time away from being monetized. So that would be cool. So anyway, if you want to jump over there and then we can get monetized, and that would be just groovy.
Super groovy.
Oh, thanks. So Shannon joined us from Blue Sky, and
Awesome.
she reposted. So that's fantastic. So welcome, Shannon. So that goes on with our introduction. So today we are asking the question: are you better off than you were 4 days ago? And I asked that because these last 4 days have been like the 4 longest decades of my life. Like it feels like it's been more than 4 days. The just the sheer insanity. Like Monday was only 4 days ago, if you want to believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're only a week and a half into this new administration too. It feels like I saw a meme the other day. It's like it's been a year, and they're like, it's only the end of January. It's only been what a year. It's like it's just the end of January. And I am feeling that myself as well, for sure. And but yeah, the last 4 days have been, I would say as chaotic as anybody could expect, but they really are showing us that they can take it up a notch. I think we all expected it to be a little crazy, but they are pulling out all the crazy stops for sure.
And there's we've got some things to look over, but it seems like a lot of the crazy ends up maybe being not quite crazy for them,
Right?
as it ends up with a lot more money in the hands of people that already have a lot of money.
Yeah,
so I wonder if that's
that money is our money.
Yes.
That's our money that they're putting in their hands, which is
hey, here's a trivia question for you. I bet you know the answer to.
All right.
Who has gotten more money from U.S. taxpayers than any individual in American history?
Elon Musk.
Oh man, boy, that wasn't that hard, was it?
Can't stump
Well,
me.
he's gotten over $20 billion from the U.S. government. I thought,
and then he also gets federal grants as well too. So
he gets what?
I would love to have a. He also gets grants from states as well. He gets
yeah,
state grants and all of that. There's got to be some sleuthers out there that have a database of or a list of all the money that Elon Musk has acquired through his businesses over the years, and I've seen some of them, but I would love to see a more succinct, full-fledged list. Which if I can't find one, I might just make it myself and we can share it. But yeah, absolutely. It's funny how he's like, oh, we're going to cut the fat, but not the fat that I get, not the tallow I'm sucking on over here. That is, he is exempt from the fat cutting, the trim of the fat. He likes that stuff.
And then he also doesn't have to pay taxes on a lot of stuff. He gets tax breaks for moving his business to places. So
yes, exactly.
I think if most of us had, if I were given $20 billion by the U.S. government and didn't have to pay any taxes, I might be able to be rich too. But and I'm not even an economic genius like Elon. Did you know Elon Musk?
Yeah, no. Sorry, economic genius. Sorry, hold on a second. I just want to make sure everybody understands. Elon is not a genius. Elon has just had money and has been able to buy products and ideas from other people, right? Everyone's like, oh, he's in it. Like Caroline Levitt said, I don't believe it was either yesterday or the day before at a press conference, or she was at a gaggle outside of the White House, and she was like, oh, he's an innovative, one of the most innovative people in our lifetime. And it's like, no, he just knows how to invest in businesses and take them over. It's not that everyone's like, oh, he invented Tesla, he invented SpaceX. No, these are things that he has taken from other people, just like he took Twitter, right? It's not that he's some like super highly intelligent dude. He is working off the backs of other people. So like, let's get that straight there really quick. It's not him at all. But yeah, so lots to talk about in regards to him and his involvement in the last couple of days. also the response from both the Democrats and surprisingly the Republican side, and as well as what has Trump said about it, and what lackey of his did he assign to call Elon a liar yesterday, which was something very interesting that I don't think we have in our notes, and I've got to pull it up because it was on a show that I watched
Wait,
last night. Lawrence
who called Elon a liar?
So it was a guy. It's like a mid-management level position.
Oh.
It was on the Lawrence O'Donnell show last night. He was talking about one of his somebody that works for Trump in a specific office wrote a letter and was like, this is not what he's doing. This is not what he's supposed to be doing. But Trump couldn't do it himself. Trump wasn't willing to be the one to say it. He got one of his people to do it for him. And I know we also talked yesterday about the honeymoon phase. When is the breakup going to happen? What's that going to look like? You know, I've got some bets that I've placed with a couple people on when it's going to happen, who's going to be the one to fold first, and how ugly of a mess is that going to be. Curious to know what your thoughts are on that as well when we get to those topics on today's episode. So yeah, first things first, as you said, like everybody, there's links. Join the call if you want to. You're free to come in and join the conversation. If you're anywhere else, watch us on YouTube. And then we also, as we said yesterday, started our Discord channel. It is a bit of a work in progress, but I think it's come along so far in the last 24, 48 hours. So we would love to have everybody be part of that community with us as well. It'll be in the show notes, as well as I think you put it in your profile bio on Blue Sky. I'm going to add it to mine as well. So you guys can find us there and be part of the conversation in that way too.
And I don't think this will show up on Twitter, but it'll show up on YouTube and Facebook. Actually, so now I'll go over here and yeah. And by the way, I know it's supposed to be pronounced. I think the word X is pronounced Twitter. If you look at the Afrikaans to English dictionary,
I think that is the correct pronunciation. Just like Zuckerberg is pronounced with the Z is a PH.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, PH. So like the Z in Zuckerberg, for instance, or also coincidentally the T in Tucker, like in Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of nuanced pronunciations there. A lot of people get it wrong.
Okay. Oh, huh. And let me just go ahead and do this. So nobody knows what I'm talking about because I'm just sitting here talking to myself while I'm live streaming. Yeah. I am not going insane. Okay. I'm just sharing a link on X.
Okay.
All right. Let me.
While we are waiting, though, I do want to commend. This is going to be part of our first topic. You know, we've talked the last couple of episodes about the Democrats and placing blame on who do we place blame on? What can the Democrats do? Where have they been? And they definitely did show up yesterday, as well as today, with their 30-hour filibuster on the Senate floor, where they held that overnight protest for Trump's OMB nominee, Russell Vogt.
Which is the irony that his last name is pronounced Vote.
Yeah. I thought it was pronounced Vought this entire time, but it is not. It is Vote, which Vought seemed more fitting with, the Boys show.
Yeah.
But for people that don't know who Russell Vogt is, he is an author of Project 2025. He did work for the Office of Personnel Management, I believe, during Trump's first term. he is a dangerous man. And this is why
He's not just like an author though, right? He's like the architect of
the
Project
architect,
2020.
yeah, exactly. It's not like he did just the forward or whatever. No, he has been a driving force in, pushing out the ideas and the plans for Project 2025
And
specifically from the Heritage Foundation.
where are all these people that were all these fact checks that were very, very adamant that um Donald Trump had denied any relationship with Project 2025, and now uh, uh he makes the architect of Project 2025 the most powerful man in his administration, the one who wants to literally make him perhaps the most powerful unelected person in the history of the world, like, or at least in the history of the country,
Yeah, I mean, I
because
think it's fun.
he wants to basically strip away the powers of the Constitution from the Congress and the Supreme Court.
Right. Yeah.
He wants to
Everybody
make
thought,
it so that the president can override either one.
yeah, everybody thought it was funny that during the DNC last year that we brought that big Project 2025 book out on stage and really hammered down the idea that this is something that they're going to implement regardless of Trump saying he doesn't know anything about it, when in all reality, he pulled an about face as soon as he got into office on this Project 2025 stuff. He knew exactly who these people were, tapping Russell Vogt, as well as Tom Homan, his former immigration chief, as the border czar, and Stephen Miller, of course, who's the deputy chief of policy. They all were involved with Project.
Oh, and let's not forget J.D. Vance wrote the foreword for Vogt's book.
Exactly. Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
it was knowable that he was lying when he said he had nothing to do with Project 2025. And here's the thing about Project 2025 that I think is people need to understand. It is not a 4-year plan. It is not a decade plan. It is a 180-day plan.
Yeah.
So they're not trying to completely reinvent the government over the course of a term. Like by June, their goal is to completely take over the government and finish a coup by June. And I think do we have some discussion on coup today?
We do. We do have we have some stuff to talk about is this a coup today as well. But
this would be a nice way to segue into that. I personally, I don't like extreme language, and I'm always cautious about it because I think once you start using it, then you can come across like a kook, and you can lose anybody that's moderate, like to think that you might actually have a serious point. But so I was thinking, like a coup does not necessarily mean, like they call it a military coup because a military coup is a type of coup. Like it doesn't have to be a military coup. It doesn't even necessarily have to be violent. It's a takeover of a government.
Right.
And so at what point would you have what like would it be a coup? Like when is it okay to start using the word coup? And like right now we are governed by the Constitution. Whichever party you're in, when whatever your vote is, whether you're MAGA or like if the thought that Kamala Harris laughing was not a disqualifier. Like if I think we should all agree that the Constitution itself governs the country.
Right.
When you start setting aside the actual Constitution, when you overthrow the Constitution, it becomes a coup. And that is what they are doing. They are setting aside the very tenets of the Constitution, the balance of powers in the Constitution, the explicit powers given to the Congress by the Constitution. They are removing those by giving the president unilateral authority to override the power of the purse string.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. I think that's the thing, and what we touched on a little bit yesterday too about the fact that They're trying to offer all these resignation opportunities for people within the federal government, whether it's the FBI and the CIA, and also getting at people out of the military. They want to. It's not going to be a military coup because they are padding the military with people that don't see this as a coup. They agree with the administration's executive orders and the changes that they're making. So it's not going to be a military coup. I mean, the FBI director, is standing their ground right now. But they're going to get, ousted out eventually. So, that's been the plan the entire time. Michael Spencer said people around Trump knew what it was and told Trump some talking points, but I really believe he knew very little about it. I think that you're partially right there. I think, he's a parroter, right? He parrots what other people tell him. This is going to be the best policy. This is what we want to do. This is what the country needs. And so he just runs with that, right? I would agree with you on a certain extent that he didn't read it. Look, you can barely get him to read the daily president's
he definitely.
Yeah, he didn't read it.
And once, by the way, have you noticed, like, I've been looking at some of his executive orders, and they always sound like a little kid trying to sound like an adult. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Or like when he makes some of these social media proclamations where he tries to sound like he's being really smart, and it's just like, like, did Bart Simpson write that tweet? Like, it's just so childish, but it's like a child trying to sound like they're pretending to be president.
Yeah, I mean, not only does he sound like he's trying to be president as a child, like they're trying to be president, he also looks like a child signing these. Like, he's getting them handed to him at his desk, and he's like, "Oh, what's this one?" And then he signs it, and he's like, "Look at this! Look what I did!" It's like a kid showing off like a piece of artwork that they did. It's like, what is actually happening here?
He really, like, I mean, we talk, like, people talk about whether he has dementia, and a lot of times even the way his handlers talk to him, like, this is, like they're talking to him like he's mentally regressed to the point he does, like, if we just need to hold his attention for these 3 minutes for this op, or for this photo op or whatever.
Yeah, well, like I said, I believe I mentioned it yesterday. There were reports during his last administration where they had to, configure the daily president briefings in a way that they could keep his attention, and by doing that, they would provide him with pictures and tell it like a story so that he could pay attention to the daily presidential briefing so that he knew what the fuck was going on in the country. They had to make it to where they caught his attention in a childlike way. So the accusations of him seeming childlike are all very, very valid and backed up by reports of said behavior. So there's no question about that in my mind whatsoever.
Right. So let's go to did you have the cool thing pulled up?
I've got it pulled up here right where I've got my big TV over here too, which is fantastic. I just pull it whenever I need to. I'll share my screen. Okay. Can you see that?
We can. The coup-o-meter.
Is this a coup? The coup-o-meter. Oh, it looks like it's moved since I saw it yesterday. This is a great first glance. Look at this at the beginning of my day. How close are we to a coup? So in here, it talks about the February 2025 update. The President of the United States is in the process of placing the entirety of the federal government under his own control using methods that are in direct violation of the U.S. Constitution. This is a coup. This is the coup. It says any coup takes time to consolidate, and we can still turn back the tide. Democrats must step up. Republicans must step up. Citizens must step up. This is a great resource. Provides analysis. Is it really a coup? Of course, it's a coup. Letters from America. Lots of great links here. But I check on it every day. It's kind of like the meter for what is it, like a nuclear holocaust? I can't remember what that one's called. Do you remember, Kelly, the meter that they have for that?
Oh, you're talking about like the D-Day or the for like, are we about to be in a nuclear war type of thing?
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
DEFCON 5 or whatever.
Doomsday clock, I think is what
Doomsday
it is.
clock. That's
Yeah,
the
the
one,
doomsday clock is similar to this as well. This is just I think more for the current events. That one also applies to current events as well. But as you can see, we are in the middle of an attempted coup. We are in the middle of an attempted coup. And
as
you
the
know,
Beatles would say, cuckoo kachoo.
coup kachoo. Yeah. I posted something on Twitter or on Blue Sky yesterday. I was like, cuckoo, like literally, like wake the fuck up, people. Like it's a coup. It's happening right now. Please pay attention. But yeah, so a great little tool to be able to use whenever you wake up in the morning and want to check, is it a coup yet? Well, we're halfway there. We're almost there.
So all right. So but like I was saying, I think the coup, it is a coup because it's taking over the Constitution. It is not like I keep hearing, like as some people are saying, well, he's just doing what he was elected to do. And it's like, really, is he? Tell me where he ran on any of the things he's doing. Because he literally said he wasn't going to do the things he said he was going to do. Like he backed away. He said that he had nothing to do with Project 2025. Right?
Right.
So if you can't say on the one hand that he wasn't planning on doing this before the election and then after the election say that this is what he was doing. Where did he run on invading Greenland or Panama or making Canada the 51st state? Or did you hear the Marco Rubio thing where he's like, the United States isn't going to go to the G20 because in South Africa because they have a DEI thing? It's like, can you imagine now, like, we are banning South Africa for not being racist enough.
It's like, didn't they do apartheid already?
Like, bring back apartheid, then we'll go.
I find it ironic that, they've got Marco Rubio having to say all this. And it's just like, man, he's really sucking ass right now for Trump. He did say some things during a press conference yesterday. I believe he just was like made a speech yesterday of talking about how there's issues within our government and also within some of the partners we have across the world. Their insubordination is the reason that he doesn't want to participate in the G20 summits, and also why we're having problems with
insubordinate
Canada and
subordinate to who?
Oh, he's saying that's what I'm saying. He was talking about multiple people being insubordinate, whether it be countries being insubordinate, like Mexico and Canada.
But who are they supposed to be insubordinate? Who are they? Who are they?
To the United States.
Okay, yeah. So like they have the audacity to, like, this is why I keep saying Donald Trump really thinks he's king of the world.
Yeah.
Like other countries have to do what the United States says. How can you be insubordinate if there's no authority subordinating you under somebody, right? Like you can be insubordinate to your boss, but you can't be insubordinate to me, like insubordinate.
Who
implies
determines
authority.
that I have to be subordinate to you, right? Who determines that?
Yeah. Where does your authority over me come from? There is no authority. So how can there be insubordination without authority?
Right.
Anyway,
and let me pull this back up. Yeah. So also here's another thing. He made the claim multiple times, like people are being insubordinate, but specifically yesterday he was talking about the U.S. aid force sweep action was due to insubordination by staff and resistance towards the efforts to conduct an orderly review of its global program. So insubordination, and also orderly review. I'm sorry, if this is what you consider an orderly review, then I've got news for you. Like, orderly for who? Orderly meaning that Musk just comes and takes over and kicks everybody out.
Where was the review? Where was the review part?
Yeah, there is no review.
He just came in and shut it down.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Exactly. You know, that it's a cluster plus of chaos right now. You know, so again, but I love the insubordination part. That part just kills me. They want the what is it, comply in advance, or which is, most people aren't doing that, right?
Oh, the obey in advance thing.
Obey in advance, yeah, and they talk, the words that they use is comply, insubordinate. They're like, if you just comply, you know, everything will be fine. No, it won't. It's not going to be fine. But yeah, so you know, another attempt on our country and our rights and our funds for and our federal departments and agencies. This has already had irreparable damage for people where, you know, that work with US aid out in different countries. They've been losing access to their cell phones, to their emails when they're out in the field working, doing the work that US aid does, and they are finding themselves locked out of everything. It's utter chaos. And dangerous, right? As we talked about yesterday, specifically with the US aid thing, you know, China is coming to fill the void at this point. Yeah, orderly as in I'm giving you orders. Exactly, Michael. Orderly, yeah. But you know, the whole point of US aid has been to establish relationships with other countries, and relationships with them that keep them from being influenced by countries like Russia and China. And Russia and China are just, it is Christmas Day for them right now with what we're doing with the USAID and other departments where we do international work with countries that need it and international development. So insubordination away.
Hey, Shannon, I have a question for you. I'd like to hear your answer to this. And actually, you know, everybody, you know, including Michael and you, Nahan, who is the real, like, I really don't think that Donald Trump has a grasp on what is really happening right now. I think he is in kind of full-blown dementia. Who is the real mind behind Trump right now? Who is the real person in charge?
You're asking me that?
Asking everybody, what do you think?
I'll wait for them to respond before I give my answer. Yes, I think that
well, I'll give you my answer while everybody else
yeah,
is. I'm just going to say they made a movie about him recently. Here,
they made a movie about him.
Yeah.
Like a documentary or a movie?
Like an actual movie. I think it might be a documentary, but I'm not sure. It wasn't sold as a documentary. Here, I'll post the link here on this is the IMDb link.
Are you talking about the Apprentice movie?
No. I'm talking about, here, I'll share my screen. Oh, whoops, hang on.
Do I need to stop sharing mine for you too? I think we could both do it.
No, I just need to I forgot to open up the screen. You'll get it in just a second.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, Stephen Miller, right?
Am I lying?
Yeah. It's not credited as a documentary, but you know, it definitely can be considered one.
And I think he's leveled up. For those that don't know, I'm referring to Stephen Miller. If you weren't able to see the screen, and the movie is called how do you pronounce that anyway? Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, yeah.
Anyway, I think he's leveled up because to daywalker status because I've seen him in sunlight without catching on fire lately. So either that or he's got like some really, really good sunscreen.
I don't know. He's gonna be working on his hairline here.
There he is. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend.
The legend.
And everything that's happening really just has his flavor to it.
Yeah, no.
All because a couple of weeks ago, a 10-year-old girl shoved him into a locker.
Yep.
Again. I think he spent a lot of times in a locker I think that's why he feels so comfortable in a coffin now.
Well, are you familiar with his background, his history, his education, like how he turned to be the way that he is, like where he got his start? There's a really great podcast episode from the Daily from New York Times where they talk about him. It's called Stephen Miller's Return to Power, and it talks about what his upbringing was, what happened to him in high school. To a very liberal high school in California, and he was like, I think he would make speeches at his school about how the janitors needed to pick up the trash from the kids, and that was what their job was supposed to be. And he was like railing on immigrants already at the time, but while he was in high school at that time. So he started early, right? It wasn't like and he had liberal parents too, which was just wild. Like he just turned into what he was, because that's just the kind of guy that he is. But it's an interesting episode if anybody ever gets the opportunity to listen to that from.
And I think I think that the especially the anti-Hispanic racism started then too.
Yes.
Did it mention anything about as I've heard other things, like his high school classmates will talk about how much he hated Hispanic kids and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was in California. He was extremely racist. This is not a new act for him. This has been a long time coming. It's been around. He's been like that for a while. So if anybody's ever interested to learn about it, they talk about his education there and his background and how he became the Nosferatu that we know today. where it began. That's a good place to start to learn about him. But yeah, I agree. He definitely is the one in power. He's the one in charge of everything. Everything that he wanted and more is being enacted with these executive orders. He has been the author of these executive orders. He has been the front man to push these ideas especially with them. I mean, this is his wet dream with the immigration stuff and getting people to Guantanamo Bay. This is definitely this is going to be on the top of his CV, right? His biggest accomplishment. He did a lot of things for the first administration, but I don't think it went as planned as he would have liked. But this time around, they know what they're doing, and they're going to get it done the way that they wanted it done the last time, for sure, 100%. Which is terrifying, but again, what did we expect to happen? But yeah, so him again, what we were talking about, the protests, the 30-hour protest that they did in the Senate last night and this morning over the OMB nominee, which is Russell Vought. So he's involved with Project 2025 as well as Stephen Miller. Which again, a lot of people are saying that Russell Vought is not as dangerous as Elon Musk or as Trump, but it's a trifecta thing, right? It's like they're building this like ultra MAGA team that is going to wreak havoc on our nation, going to burn up the Constitution right in front of us. And they are going to do the coup. That is literally what they're doing. That has been the plan the entire time. And then not only do you have these nominations, but then you have these House Republicans that are pushing to fund Trump's agenda. nobody is stopping him. I mean, the only what you heard Susan Collins saying, oh, I'm concerned about what Musk is doing. I'm concerned about the IG is all getting fired. I'm concerned about what else? What is Susan Collins not concerned about? Right. That's all she can do is be concerned. I talked to somebody yesterday about, how Susan Collins is and, why people in Maine vote for her. And they were like, well, people in Maine are like that. They don't really get too involved. And that's why Susan Collins is a great, sit on her hands and just talk the talk, but doesn't really do a whole lot until now where, all these tariffs are affecting her community in Maine, where I guess it's what peat or not peat, the whatever they use for farming, I believe that they get from Canada, and it's going to affect the industry. And now she has something to say about it, and she posted on Twitter, "Oh, like I'm pleading for Trump to please consider Maine and our community, and how these tariffs are going to affect our industry." And that's about as far as she goes as being concerned. Which is really doesn't say much at all to me. I don't consider. But again, what do you think about that, Kelly, though, where they're saying, oh, Russell vote's not a big deal. It's really just Musk now that's the problem.
I think that without vote, Musk isn't a problem. Like, vote is the one who is behind giving Musk the power that he doesn't have, if you'll follow me. And I posted this article and this is the title of it is, oh, I'm sorry, that's your screen that's being shared, right?
Yep, I pulled it up. You posted it in the chat.
So if you want to scroll down just a bit to the second paragraph. Oh, no, up. Oh, yeah. Second paragraph. There you go. So the OMB isn't often in the headlines, but it's a critical part of the executive office of the president, tasked with overseeing federal agencies and evaluating their policies and programs against established guidelines. The OMB is also responsible for preparing the president's budget, which typically reflects the president's priorities. It is important to note, however, that under the U.S. Constitution, once bills have been passed by Congress and signed into law, decisions on how to spend U.S. taxpayer money cannot be unilaterally altered by a U.S. president. This separation of powers was made even sharper. Come on. By the impoundment control of bad writing there. This separation of powers was made even sharper by the Impoundment Control Act of 1974, which makes clear the attempt by president to withhold congressional appropriations that have been enacted into law is illegal. Yet this unlawful, unconstitutional overreach is exactly what vote has repeatedly supported, including during and after his previous stint at OMB in the first term of the Trump administration, and as he outlined in the Project 2025 agenda. As we have seen over the last 2 weeks, the Trump administration is already following through on a legal funding freeze. So what he is asked, when you put this together, like, right, first, as the director of OMB, he's saying that the president can unilaterally decide how to spend money. Then as the director of OMB, he is the one that will tell the president, advise the president, who is about as curious as a salamander, that of what the budget should be, right?
Right.
So he is literally arguing that he himself should have unilateral control over how we spend money, and he himself should be more powerful than all of Congress. And even if Congress votes otherwise, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And you're gonna and this is what if it were George Soros? What if it were Mark Cuban? Would they be advocating for the same thing?
Right.
It's fine if it's your guy making those decisions. And so, like, why is Lindsey Graham willing to vote away the authority he has as a senator? Like that. That's the line of attack. I think that the Democrats need to be using in this it's not just about him. It's about the principle and the office he espouses, that this is permanent. This is going to go on to the next president. And are you willing to give that next president and that next OMB director, are you willing to give them the same authority you're voting to vote right now?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And also, I need to correct what I said earlier. He was not the he wasn't running the Office of Personnel Management. He was the OMB director last time as well, the same position. So that you are exactly right, though. Senator Pat Murray, who's or Murray, she's the ranking member of the Appropriations Committee. She was talking about if confirmed that it would trample all over the separations of power. He will ignore the authority of Congress, and that it will hurt American people by holding back funds that they rely on. Just, look at what happened last time when he served as the director. He tried to break the law to give Trump the authority that he doesn't even have. He tried to let him have authority that he does not have as president, to uphold the assistance that we're trying to provide to Ukraine. And he's trying to he'll allow for Trump to override the spending decisions that are made by Congress, right? There is the separation of powers for a reason, and Vought disregards that. He says those don't matter. Those separations of power that, that are in the Constitution that gives Congress the power and control over government spending, they don't apply to this administration, and that Trump can do whatever he wants, which again, that funding freeze that started the administration, that is straight from the writings of Russell Vought in Project 2025. That is exactly where that's coming from. And so, this was just to test out the waters and see what they are capable of doing. Like, how far can we go with this, right? Which again, this is why this guy is so dangerous. This is why they held the 30-hour debate starting at 1 yesterday. And I would assume it's close. No, it's not 1 yet. So they're still going right now. They're still going. They're going to be going from 1 and 10 hours after that, to put a stop to this, explaining why they oppose this confirmation. And again, as I had said earlier, and we've talked about before, what are the Democrats doing? This, I am saying kudos to the Democrats. Thank God that they are doing this, because right now they can put this shit on the record and say, maybe this isn't going to sway a Republican vote in any sense of the way. He's going to get confirmed. But when the shit hits the fan, the Democrats are going to be able to pull out their I told you so receipts based on these warnings that they're providing them with this 30-hour filibuster stand up within the Senate floor opposing this nomination. So, but he's a dangerous man. He's a dangerous man.
And I just want to, again, like Greg says, the Constitution is enforced and interpreted by the Supreme Court. So I would not look for a relief from that area. And I just want to clarify that comment a little bit by an Andrew Jackson quote. And if I remember correctly, and I might be off on this, it's something like and I think it was to do with the Trail of Tears, where John Marshall said it was unconstitutional, and then we just lost Neha. The Constitution is enforced. All right, so Andrew Jackson said it's if it's John Marshall's decision, let him enforce it. And while that's apocryphal, might be apocryphal, may or may not be, he probably said something close enough that became the thing. And it does point out the Supreme Court has no authority to enforce their decisions. They do interpret the Supreme Court, or they do interpret whether something is constitutional or not. It is their job to review whether something is constitutional. But if they make a decision and the president, the executive branch, decides not to enforce it, there's nothing they can do. And this is important because Steve Miller is arguing that actually the president has the final say on whether something is constitutional. So they're like, and I pointed this out before, they are trying to say that they can set aside the congressional branch and that they can set aside what the judicial branch says. So, and the ability of the Supreme Court to do anything about it is not there. There's nothing in the Constitution that the Supreme Court can set aside, or that the Supreme Court can enforce their decisions.
Right. That's right. You didn't lose me. I had to turn my camera off for a second. Right, exactly. And so that's the thing. The Supreme Court is in Trump's pocket right now, right? So Greg, you are correct about that to a certain extent, and right, as Kelly, as you clarified a little bit there. However, Trump is being shown to, or they've told Trump that he is above the law, right? So Congress can fight and argue about what their jurisdiction is in regards to the funding, the budget, the country's purse, essentially. And at the end of the day, they can take that up to the Supreme Court, but I don't know how much faith I have in the Supreme Court to do the right thing, And Greg says, lecturing people is ineffective and actually makes people turn against your points. Humor is an effective tool and essential to bridging the gap between the parties currently. Absolutely. I mean, I would agree with that 100%. We try to keep it light, not trying to lecture. But again, I think it's important to clarify things because we have had people come on the show before too. I think as recently as yesterday, talking about things that aren't factual, right? I mean, I find it difficult to let people say things that aren't true and not address it. I think it's important to be able to address, things that are unfactual, not in a lecture way at all, but it's important that we're talking about facts here. I think. I don't know, Kelly, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that nobody ever accused me of not joking enough, but like there are sometimes, not everything can be made into a joke. Like, actual coups are not, even if you make a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs joke or something like that, but like the actual, sometimes things just aren't funny. And
you gotta find some humor in the chaos, but sending people to Gitmo, I don't know how funny that is either.
And you really are talking about somebody that is trying to seize an authority nobody else in the history of this country has ever had. Like nobody else has done this. And we've always, in effect, the Constitution or the Supreme Court has always had the power of, because everybody respected that, right? Like every other president since Jackson anyway, and who also is Donald Trump's favorite president. Everybody else has respected the Supreme Court's decision, and it's always been a question: what happens if a president doesn't respect it? And some people, to even things out, there were some people on the left that thought that Joe Biden should ignore the Supreme Court's decision on Trump's immunity and just prosecuted him anyway. But that is a something that the executive branch has always been able to like set aside if they wanted to, and they just haven't, because out of respect for the Constitution. And that's what is concerning to me is you have people being put in power that have no respect for the Constitution.
Right. And Greg said that.
Okay, good.
Well,
all right. I'm sorry. I was like, oh no, I didn't offend Greg. Okay.
No, God forbid. No, but again, we talked about on I think it was our episode on Monday about, being productively angry and upset about things. But, so, I mean, I don't know how else to approach a lot of these things. We're in completely new territory. And talking about things. I mean, I know people that aren't, my husband, for example, he's German. He's not been a very political person. But since he's lived here, and especially in the current, with the current state of things, he's the one turning the news on instead of me now. Like, he's like, oh, I want to know I'm going to read what the Constitution says. He's never thought about reading the Constitution ever before. It's not been a part of something he's interested in. There's regular everyday people right now that are looking at things like just the basic laws of our country and, really figuring out like, is this what should be happening? And I think that that's important to meet people where they are with that as well. Maybe you feel like you know more about the Constitution than somebody else. Well, a lot of these people, this is the first time they're getting involved in these type of topics. So, it is, you know, I want to be educational and have fun with it at the same time, but let's be real, like it's, I mean, it's scary times for me, and I think for a lot of other people as well. Before we move on, though, I just wanted to close off this conversation about Russell Vogt and Project 2025 and Steve Miller with, all right, we said earlier, Trump said, I don't know anything about it. I don't know these people. Well, we have a list here of all of the major architects, the contributors, the authors, the people that headed up Heritage Foundation and helped to create Project 2025. And these are all of the people that he has picked to be a part of his administration this time around. Of course, we have Russell Vogt, we have Peter Navarro, Paul Atkins, Brendan Carr, Tom Homan, John Ratcliffe, Monica Crowley, Michael Anton, and Steve Miller. And there are, of course, other people that are involved as well in different ways. But this is a pretty,
and Peter
decent
Navarro
list of people.
was one of the architects of the previous coup.
Yes,
attempt.
exactly.
Right. Like,
Yeah,
and
he
we
got
need
out
to
of prison
start, we need to,
16.
like, somehow the media has normalized that to just calling it like a riot or something like that. No, that was, and because they reduce it down to what happened on January 6th and not the overall plan. The overall plan was to set aside the results of the 2020 election and install Donald Trump as president. That was a coup. That was an insurrection, and anybody that says otherwise either doesn't know or is lying.
Coup.
If actually you scroll down on your coup meter there. Scroll down. There you go. Now, okay, back up. Okay, this was from January of 2000.
That's January 2024 or 2021.
2021, right? So not right. Scroll back up just a tad. Okay, settle there. See where the meter is there?
Mm.
It was an attempted coup, right? Yeah. Wasn't quite. Now scroll back up. See,
we're getting closer.
We are further along on coup status than we were on January 6th.
Yes, exactly.
And January 6th was an actual attempted coup.
Yes, exactly. And again, so Peter Navarro, as you said, they attempted to coup, try to stop things. But look, I mean, all the stuff from Project 2025 that he wrote about the tariffs, this is all from him. This is all his write-ups from 2025 for restrictions on trade like tariffs that Trump has already implemented. 3 words, SEAL Team 6. Yes, exactly. And again, I just want to touch on this because everybody believed him when he said, I know nothing about Project 2025. I don't know what it says. And, you know, as I believe Greg or Shannon pointed out, he probably didn't read it, but he doesn't read anything. People tell him things and he goes along with it. He didn't need to read it. That's what they love about him, though, is that he doesn't read this shit. They just give him
all they have to do is just say, hey, look,
we want this. Do it.
This makes rich white people better.
Yeah.
You know, they just have to feed him the code words and the dog whistles, and he comes running. These
will make your friends happy, essentially. That's all they've got to say. You know, this will benefit you, and he's gonna agree to whatever it is that he needs to do and do whatever it takes to get those things implemented. 100%. So yes, we are in the middle of an attempted coup. I have an over under on when we will reach the status of official coup. But maybe I'm gonna get on a betting app and see if I can get some money off that.
Okay, let's get along, little doggy. You see what I did there?
Doji.
Let's get along, little doji.
Let's get along, little doji. So
talk some Elon Musk.
We can't talk today without talking about Elon Musk. He is doing exactly what he loves to do, just like Trump, which is be the center of attention, right? And get his hands into everything. I think, do we have a list of the agencies that he has currently got himself and his little intern tech oligarchy bros in on so far? Of course we know about USAID. I believe that yesterday, Medicare and Medicaid, he was able to gain access to those databases as well. Yeah, what have you got pulled up there? The lever article. Yeah.
There's something I wanted to share on this that I thought was interesting. So this is, I mean, Susan Collins is bringing out really harsh words now. That's how bad it is. She says that what Elon Musk is doing is far beyond what I think is appropriate, which are like, those are the harshest words since
there's some
Chuck
fighting
Schumer
words right
talked
there.
about what was the word again? The not excite, but the arouse. Yeah.
Oh, that was Chuck Schumer, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is the strongest words uttered by a senator since Chuck Schumer was talking about arousing people. Okay, but so I you know, I'm like, wow, this is the like Susan Collins coming out with like words that are almost critical here.
Yeah.
There must be something going on, right? So I read the article and says there is no doubt that the president appears to have empowered Elon Musk to go far beyond what I think is appropriate, she told reporters. Collins is an author of the Better Energy Storage Technology Act when she wrote to support energy storage and development. And so then I got to thinking, I was curious. Because I was like, doesn't Elon Musk doesn't Tesla have some kind of whole home battery thing, right?
Yeah, it's
so I looked that up, and it's called
Powerwall,
or Powerall, right?
Powerwall.
And you know what I found out is that one of those whole home batteries, Tesla makes more money off of selling one of those batteries than they do off of selling a Tesla. Like like those things are making money. And then there's also Tesla is not just making money off of selling Teslas.
Right.
They're not just, one of the biggest ways they make money is like if you you know, with all with the regulations and stuff, you can, if you use too much of your carbon footprint or whatever, you can you can buy from somebody that uses less. So let's say I am, you know, like a net energy saver and they're a net energy user, then they can use the extra energy and they can buy my negative energy or whatever. I don't know what I'm.
Yeah, you end up producing more energy or solar energy. You can sell it back to the grid. You can sell it back to like the energy company from your city or whatever the utility is where you live.
Well, no, not that. This is like for tax purposes or something like, or for meeting the regulation.
Right. Gotcha.
So like if you're you know, like using all kinds of energy and producing all kinds of gases or whatever, then you can like give somebody else money that's doing less, and that's to encourage people to like do less or to be like a net negative.
You're talking about like net zero, like let's say, so Tesla is,
yes,
so like this company is actually not not participating in energy saving practices, but this other company is, and they have kind of like they have the ability to grant, like they can buy the credits that they have acquired because they are following those energy saving practices.
That's what I'm. Yeah, so I like recalling this from a John Oliver segment I watched a few years ago, and I'm 57, so my memory is not what it once was. But anyway, they Tesla actually, that's where they make most of their money from, is selling these net credits.
Yeah.
So it's not just the batteries they're making money off of. They're also making money off of these credits that they sell to other people. And it's why actually Elon Musk is not this great person for climate change that people give him credit for being, He's actually just allowing people to pollute the air by selling them these credits. So if other people start having these storage improvements, then his whole home batteries are going to lose value, and he's not going to be able to sell as much of these credits. So it's actually, there is a very much a financial incentive for him to kill this bill that Susan Collins passed. And so she's like not so much worried about Elon Musk's authority. She's more worried about, oh, my little baby bill isn't going to have the same power that it did. And so it's just her personal like for both of them, they're just looking after their own self-interest.
Right.
None of it has to do with making the government more efficient or whatever. This has nothing to do with any of that.
Right. However, there was an article that came out about the climate credits that Elon has been able to profit of, and that Trump may end them, actually, that the ability to be able to do that. He asked, so a lot of that has to do with the regulations, right? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So he's been able to make a bunch of money off of these greenhouse climate credits that he sells to other companies that are not participating in the program. But Trump wants to end regulations on those things that allow for him to be able to profit off of those credits. So he wants him to wage war on the regulations, which those exact regulations are the ones that have made it profitable for Musk to be able to sell those credits, right? So it's kind of funny that he's literally trying to end a thing that has caused for Tesla to be able to survive as a company, because he's making millions of dollars by selling those credits. 10.7 million from selling credits created by the government climate programs that Trump is trying to end. He's trying to kill those programs. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen there if Musk is going to seek to maybe protect those rules because it benefits him, right? And go against what Trump is initially saying, that he wants to cut regulations in order to pass pass what it is he's wanting to do with these executive orders. I don't know what's going to happen there. But that's where a third of their profits for Tesla has come from since 2014. And I'm pretty sure if those profits are gone, Tesla's not going to be able to function without that money, without that income coming in from those compliancy credits. So that's going to be an interesting turn of events to keep an eye out for.
Shannon says I'm a below the knee amputee living in Social Security disability, and those who people couldn't care less about me losing the only income I have. And my wife is on disability. My wife, has an issue that I don't want to go into, but she has a disability, and that is something I've been really worried about, because it's not just the disability, it's the healthcare, and people on disability often actually really need their healthcare benefits, and so they're on Medicare, and then I just really worry about so many people that this is not. I think for some people this is just like a debate on Twitter, or something like that, and they don't realize how many, like literally millions of Americans. This is not a hypothetical. This is not a theoretical thing. This is like their real life. It could be destroyed in a moment, and so like the stress that causes and everything like that is just dynamic.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the article here just in regards to talking about Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, disability, and the fact that Elon's now getting access to these databases to try to determine if there's fraud or waste, when correct me if I'm wrong, but from the way that I understand how applying for disability, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, you have a caseworker that works with you on the state level or locally with like the Department of Human Services, and they work with you on going through the application, seeing if you qualify. And it's really hard to actually get qualified to
It is
get disability.
extremely hard, and you
Yeah.
have somebody that reviews your case, but to like, like that say, like to say works with you is more. They just
Well, they
review
look
your,
at your case. Yeah, right. That's what I
you
mean.
know,
Yeah.
and it is extremely difficult. Like people do not realize how hard it is to be put on Social Security disability. I think it's like 10% of people end up getting approved, and like only like 10% of those people end up getting approved the first time they apply. It's extremely rare.
Yeah.
And there are a lot more people that aren't able to get disability that should be on it than are on it that should not be. And they're even still, once you get on it, it's not like, okay, even if it's a permanent disability, you have to renew your application like every 2 years and send in a new set of paperwork where they reapprove it or they don't reapprove it. It's not that it's like it is so like people are paranoid that you're going to get something you don't deserve, or that people are just going to
Right.
sit back and collect Social Security so they never have to work again because they're lazy. And this is like did you know here, like, this is how bad it is. Even if you have insurance, like in Texas, I know it's the law. I'm not sure about every state, but in Texas, you cannot even supplement your Social Security disability with private disability insurance. So, like, if you get private disability insurance, it can't be more than 60% of your current income. So, like,
Yeah.
and
Right.
even if you combine it with your Social Security, it can't be more than 60% of your income. So you can't even supplement your Social Security to have more income if you were to have a disability. So
Yeah,
if you
there's a
lost all
cap on that, right? There's a cap on that. Like if you wanted to work a part-time job, like let's say you wanted to get a job working from home, you can only make a very small amount of money. Like you are kept under the poverty line, right? When you're on disability, you cannot make over a certain amount of money, or you don't qualify for disability anymore, right?
Yeah.
But
And Shannon says that I'm on Medicare and Medicaid. Medicaid pays my immediate Medicare premiums. Yeah, and that's depending if you're that's your only income, then you Medicaid will take care of your Medicaid premiums or Medicare. But if you make more than a certain amount of money, it won't. Um, like if you're in a marriage, like like my income, like made it so that we didn't qualify for Medicaid until I got laid off, and then I did. We did, but it's not like this. The Republicans would have you believe it's this system rife with abuse, and most of the government. I'm not saying there's like not a dime anywhere spent, but you've had every single president comes in and they have a review process where they go through and they try to find all these programs and they're all going to cut all this money. There's just the government is already much more streamlined than people think. There's not this kind of rife abuse that people think there is.
Right. Well, and also, the funny thing about this whole investigating fraud and waste, we just got rid of the government accountability inspector generals. That's their job to do. We have people in place doing that. Elon Musk and his cronies are coming in. They're unexperienced, putting their disreputable mitts on the faucet for where the money comes out. Well, we already had inspector generals and people that were there to look for waste and look for fraud within these different departments within the Treasury where payments are going out. I don't understand why they thought bringing somebody who has zero experience in this was going to be a good idea, and getting rid of the civil servants who are career inspector generals, that's their job to look for that stuff. Why did we get rid of those people? Because they are actually doing the real work, when instead what's happening now is Elon Musk is getting in there. One, he's getting all of our personally identifiable information. So if you have a social security number, he has it. He has all of your personal information. And then he also has access to the payment services and software that if you have social security or Medicare payments coming to you, they have access to those databases now, and which is a cause for concern for me, and I'm sure for plenty of people like Shannon here who relies on that income. With there being delays or something rerouted, that's that causes a lot of problems for people right off the bat.
And I just forget, permanent long COVID is now considered a disability, although
yeah.
I don't have any hope that with the current administration, we're going to make some big advances in that. But about 5% of people that have COVID end up with permanent long COVID. And every time you get COVID, your chances of getting permanent long COVID go up. So we are looking, I mean, this is something on the that is not an immediate threat, but we really need to be aware of that. We're going to be looking at a significant percentage of the population in the next 5-10 years that are just not able to work. And, I just don't know what happens if you're just not able to work. And sometimes people they really are not able to work. And, what are they supposed to do? Starve to death? I cannot imagine living on $1,000 a month. That is just, I don't know. Do you have, how do you even pay your rent, Shannon? Do you have your own house or something? And Elon Musk will take away money from her, but will happily take another $1 billion from the government for himself. Like there's something wrong with our priorities. And, I think sometimes we get into this like liberal versus conservative kind of thing. And it's like, why can't it just be basic humanity? Why can't it? What happened to just human empathy or kindness or decency? Like, it doesn't, like, it just boggles my mind that somebody would think, oh, you don't have, you're a double amputee. Like, you deserve to die. Like, anyway, it makes me sad that we're getting to this point where like people's value as a human being depends on their ability to work.
I mean, and that's the thing too. It crosses party lines. Democrats and Republicans, Americans alike, take advantage of or benefit from these services, right? And so that's why I'm curious to see where the uproar is going to occur when it's, they're not coming. This whole entire time, like, they're not coming for us. All these people have trusted Trump that they're not going to. He said he's not coming after Social Security. He's not coming after Medicare and Medicaid benefits. And that's, I think, what has been something we've heard from the Republicans and his supporters in the past. That's one of the concerns that they had, and he's promised. Okay, we know what Trump's promises are, lies, that he wouldn't touch them. And now we're seeing that. So I'm curious to see, what his supporters in Congress, as well as just regular everyday Americans, feel about that, and how they're going to react to the fact that he is actually doing what he said he wasn't going to do, because it affects everybody. It's not just Democrats. I mean, again, Democrats and Republicans alike are able to use the benefits that they need to get through life. There's a lot of people who, just like Shannon said, if I didn't get my benefits, she wouldn't be able to live. She wouldn't be able to afford groceries, rent, medicine. It's not just a Democratic issue, right, at all. And that's and there should be more coming from, other than Susan Collins being a little bit concerned about something. We should be hearing more uproar from the Republican Party about these issues that he's, trying to dismantle government assistance for every American.
He hasn't touched them yet, and it's like, that doesn't mean there's no plans on it. And this is why it's so essential that when you talk about like vote or Musk, and giving them the authority now, like, okay, if you want, okay, you're not giving him that, like he's not doing that right now, but once you give them the power to do it, how do you know they're not going to? Like, we're not talking about people that have already shown just incredible compassion for handicapped people, right? DEI includes people that have disabilities, right? And they're like literally saying, well, you have a disability and you got a job over a white guy without a disability, therefore you didn't deserve the job. How are they identifying who DEI hires are?
Right. If they're colorblind.
If they're colorblind, if they're, if it's not about race and it's not about gender and it's not about whether or not you have a disability, how are you identifying people? Are you just reviewing all the women and all the darkies and all the people with disability? Like, how are you identifying? And when I say darkies, I'm saying that extremely facetiously, just so you know.
Of course.
How are you identifying who the people with who the DEI hires are? It's, like, what is that little race card thing with the cop? The cartoon,
Family Guy thing.
Yeah. Like, that's how they identify DEI hires.
Yeah. But I mean, you just said that he has not touched it yet, but they were able to gain control over the Treasury Department payment system, and they said they only have read-only access. First of all, I don't believe that.
Why do they have read-only access at all? Why do they have any access whatsoever? These are just 3 kids that can't even grow a fucking beard.
I'm sorry. I don't believe it, though. Do you think Elon Musk is the kind of guy that's going to accept read-only access? Absolutely fucking not. It's not a thing that he's going to do. But they've already gained access to it. And let's say it is true that they only have read-only access. That's already too much. That's already too much access. And we talked about yesterday how, what
they have access. They have access to the computers, while sitting representatives and senators don't even have access to the buildings that the computers are in.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they have access to the Treasury unit called the Bureau of Fiscal Service, which is where trillions of payments come out of each year, which include Social Security checks, federal salaries, and money that goes out to federal assistance programs. And you say that they haven't done anything about it yet. However, the same day that they gain access to that, state Medicaid programs said that they were locked out of the Department of Human and Health Services systems that are used to track and disperse that money. So they are getting in the middle of that. There have been things that have already happened so far that are affecting people's ability to get the funds that they're supposed to get. Of course, Trump there's 2 judges, I believe, that have halted that blanketed freeze that Trump tried to send out that memo for. But again, like I said, this read-only access is already enough. He has your Social Security number. He has information about your bank information, your address, your phone number, your full name. They have all of this stuff. And that is, I don't feel comfortable knowing that him and his 19 to 25-year-old little tech bro team has access to that. Also, when they have access to any of the medical side of things, they can also access diagnoses, doctor's notes, HIPAA information. These are HIPAA violations that are also occurring right now. I don't see how this is going to turn out to be favorable for anybody on the side of the aisle. Not in any way. but Trump promises that, if I don't tell Trump, or if I don't tell Elon that he's allowed to do it, then he's not going to do it. He's only going to do the things that I give him permission to do. You have given him a free for all. What are you talking about? I don't trust you to tell him no. You're not that kind of guy.
Well, once
It's
you've
not
told
a
him, but like once you've issued a blanket, you've already said you can't say no. Like, and
right.
so that's why, like, Republicans, and this is what I think the message the Democrats need to be saying is you're not just talking about this one person and giving this one person that ability. You're talking about giving anyone that ability. Like, once you've permitted, it's the precedent that you're talking about. Once you've permitted somebody that precedent, that you can give somebody the authority to go in and unilaterally take over the Treasury Department, you're saying that any president can appoint any person at any time to do exactly the same thing. And
Right.
that's what you're voting
Right.
for. So imagine if the next president gives George Soros the ability to go in and unilaterally decide how we're going to spend all our money. Like, how do you think the Republicans would respond if George Soros had the exact same authority that Elon Musk has right now?
Yeah. Oh, and so by the way, what I was talking about earlier, where Trump had one of his little minions call Musk a liar, was Jonathan Bloom, who is a mid-level management guy. He's the Treasury's principal deputy assistant secretary for legislative affairs. He's like he doesn't even get to talk to the people running the committees. He's like the head of the committees in the Senate. He talks to their minions, right? He doesn't even really. He's not a high level guy within
He's
the
like a
department.
sub minion.
Yeah, right. Listen to his title. He's the Treasury's principal deputy assistant secretary for legislative affairs. Okay, assistant.
Is that like?
secretary?
Is that like?
Secretary
What
for
was
the
what was Dwight
secretary?
Schrute's job? What was Dwight Schrute's title?
Dwight Schrute. Oh, the assistant, the assistant to the regional manager, right? He's not the regional manager. He's the assistant to the regional manager. So yeah, so Jonathan Bloom is essentially Dwight Schrute, right? He's got no authority, but he stated in a letter that he sent to Senator Ron Wyden that at least one appointee from Doge under Musk's supervision has been given top security clearance that was sent out on Tuesday. And then they're saying that there was they only have read-only access, but Musk on Twitter has been talking about how they're getting rid of things. So like you to delete things or remove things or cause it like stop payments on things, read-only access. If you only have read-only access, that is, you're not able to make those types of changes with read-only access. So who's telling the truth here?
How do
Does he
you
have
lock
only
people
read-only
out if you only
access?
have read-only access?
Yeah, right. Just like he said, he deleted the direct, the easy payment or the easy IRS tax filing. I can't believe it's like SF18 or he said that Elon posted on Twitter, we deleted that, and that's been deleted. It's not been deleted. It's still on the IRS website to be able to file for free through the IRS for your taxes. It's still there. So it's hard to tell who's actually telling the truth and who's not. I really am not sure what the truth is because I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust them one bit. But yeah, so there's big concerns from a lot of people in regards to the access that Musk has to the Treasury Department's payment systems, to our personal information. I think there's a lot of illegal violations happening in regards to HIPAA and PPI in general. There's been some laws that have been broken, and I think we also talked about this yesterday about the fact that Congress is not going to be able, they can write the legislation, great to put the breadcrumbs there, great to say that here, I told you so, we could have stopped this with this legislation. However, we need to muck up the courts. We need to, they want to flood the zone with all this chaos. We need to flood the courts with lawsuits because they are breaking the law. And that is, I think, the only actions that we have between now and the next primary to be able to make anything happen, or at least put a stop to things for now until the courts can make decisions. And you've got there what the ABC News article pulled up.
Yeah. So this apparently the lawsuit, the DOJ backed down, and last evening they agreed to proposed order that would largely prohibit, whatever largely means, not apparently completely, prohibit the Treasury Department from sharing sensitive financial data with Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. Agreement allows two individuals associated with Musk but employed by the Treasury Department, called special government employees, to have read-only access to sensitive data. So I just, we've already been talking about this for a bit, and I thought this is a good segue into the next thing, which is that there is some pushback going on and through the court system. And this is the best place that we can fight back right now, because people are saying, why don't the Democrats do something? Why don't the Democrats do something? Well, all they can do is back lawsuits and back court cases. They don't have the authority to do. They're trying to they tried to have a Congress look into this, and investigate Musk thing, and now the Senate is trying to do an investigate Musk thing. There's only so much they can do, because they are the minority party in both the House and the Senate and the White House and the Supreme Court. And that's what you get when you have people that refuse to vote for the lesser of two evils. That's the position we're at. That's where we are. This is what we got for got out of all that. So, but the courts, not all the courts are controlled by Trump, and not all of the courts, even that were appointed by Trump, not even all of the judges are just anti-rule of law the way he is. So there is a this was actually, I found this posted by Mark Cuban. I don't know where you found it, because I think we found this separately, right? I was showing this to you, and then you said, "Oh, it's already on the agenda for tomorrow."
Yeah.
But I'll just share that. Okay, so hang on. Okay, so this is and we'll share the link here if anybody wants to look at it. But these are all the current court cases that have been filed against the Trump administration, and there's quite a list of them. So there is, people are like, how can he be getting away with this? How can we stop him? Well, here's we can't go through all of these, but I'm just scrolling through. So there is a significant list of lawsuits filed against the Trump administration to put injunctions on them. A lot of them, the thing is the Congress cannot actually sue the president, because the executive branch, because of you have to have something called standing, which means you have to be an affected party. Individuals can, state can. So, but these are all different lawsuits that are being filed to at least slow him down. And I think even if we don't win all of them, if we can at least gum up the works for 2 years until we can get the Congress back, and then do something. I think we'll get the Congress back in 2026, as long as we have elections. This is, I'm hoping we're still able to at least have elections in 2 years, but that is no guarantee.
But there are a couple of these lawsuits that I do want us to cover, and then one that I think is going to become a lawsuit at some point. Let me pull up the articles here. So, as some of you might be aware of, the fork in the road resignation deadline that Elon, the OPM, sent out to all these federal workers, saying, if you can agree to resigning at what they have to, I think they have to decide today or tomorrow is the date of they have until that certain date to choose. That they will resign and take a vacation to a destination of your choice. They've sent all these offers out. Which one we don't even know if there's funding available. They say if they retire or if they quit their jobs, they'll be able to get paid until September of this year. However, there's no funding for those agencies to do that. Actually, the funding expires with the budget that was created on the 14th of March in 2025, and so they're offering over 2 million civilian employees, including people from the NSA, the CIA, and the FBI, to resign and take this offer. So now they're filing a lawsuit against this because it's one, unconstitutional. There's rights as federal employees that they have to be able to exercise, and there's protections as well for civil servants from this type of offer, or just pretty much ransacking of these departments. So there is currently a judge that is looking to block that. That is one of the lawsuits that is a part of that list that we guys shared in the chat. There's also the this is the one we talked about earlier. That's a different lawsuit about the Doge. And then there's unions that are suing now. So as you said, you have to have, what was the word? We talked about that yesterday, and you just mentioned it, where the senators can't actually follow the law. They have to have cause. So their federal employees unions now are suing Trump over the data meddling. They're suing over the fact that they have installed their own private servers, that are giving access to privacy data that is unprecedented. It's literally considered a breach of data. So this is one of those lawsuits that's already started to happen. And then there is also the suing for the deferred registration program, which is the one I just talked about, saying that it violates federal law, where they're trying to get these people to quit with this fork in the road resignation opportunity. One of the ones that I think is going to be, there's two other ones. One is where the FBI agents are suing because they asked for leadership within the FBI to compile lists of officials who worked on the January 6th Trump cases. I think Pam Bondi sent out a memo yesterday stating that, or it wasn't Pam Bondi, it was somebody, the new acting head of the FBI, said that, if they didn't do anything wrong and all they did was their job, they're not at risk at losing their job, which again, Trump administration is filled with liars. They are not trustworthy people. So no, they are not complying with sending these lists out of agents who worked on these cases. And they are suing because of this, due to the fact that it's uses a retaliation campaign against people that were literally just doing their jobs. So these are some of the big ones from that court case list that we first shared that I'm interested to follow and see what happens with these. And then the other one that I think will end up turning into a lawsuit, which I do not believe has yet, was the sending of unclassified email with names of employees of the CIA who have been were recruited to work on specifically focus on China, and usually those people's identity is pretty heavily guarded because Chinese hackers are always trying to figure out who these people are and identify them. They're saying that it's not a big issue because it's only the first name and the last initial, but as we all know, I know how to sleuth online. Tell me that an expert Chinese hacker can't sleuth enough online to put 2 and 2 together about who these people actually are with the information that's provided. Former agency officers are saying that this is a counterintelligence disaster. So I see in the near future, certainly a lawsuit coming from this as well. So these are definitely some of the most recent occurrences that are prompting these lawsuits. So that one I'm certain there will be I'm sure the CIA also has a union, just like the FBI does, that is going to pursue some legal action about their personal information being declassified when they are supposed to be agents for the CIA. But yeah,
and not
very
just that, but there's their personal safety is at risk. But not only that, national security is at risk.
Right.
Because
Right.
if all of a sudden you find out this guy is a CIA agent and you capture him and you can torture him and make him talk or whatever, like you're actually betraying real national security issues. And these are the issues. Some of these things are things that, um, you know, weren't even available in Trump's bathroom in Mar-a-Lago. Like, you know, this is a very real national security concern. You know, they even like they like to scream about terrorism, but you're letting terrorists potentially know what we know about the terrorists.
Yeah.
Doge
It's unprecedented times
goes
here where
Politico.
they're
I don't think Doge like this is just weird stuff.
really,
Like this is just weird.
they're talking about the
Like I don't even know what that means. Like this is just. Do you really believe that Politico is a CIA asset? Like that doesn't even make sense.
Actually, there's
Politico is like
there
just,
are concerns about
it's a conservative website.
There are
now
some concerns
condoms for
about
Hamas,
Politico.
blah blah blah. Change the channel, Darkwoods. Change the channel. You're watching too much Fox News, and it's rotting your brain. You're going on timeout, buddy. Bye.
There are some concerns of the people that run Politico, but it is definitely not a CIA asset. What they try, I think, what he's referring, or whoever that is, what they're referring to is there was this conspiracy theory that came out yesterday that there were payments that were delayed from Politico. It was like $44,000 in payments that were supposed to go to employees that was delayed, and they were trying to say that it was because of I'm sorry. The $44,000 wasn't the payment delay. There was a delay on payments to employees, and Doge exposed the fact that U.S. aid was paying Politico $44,000 a year for journalists to have access to or for U.S. aid to have access to certain features, functionalities, back end things that that Politico's journalists provide to them. It was a service that they were providing to Politico or to the USAID, and that's what they're talking about there. And they were trying to say, oh well, look, because we put the freeze on USAID, Politico wasn't able to pay, which was just utter horse shit. It wasn't really what happened, but they run with this. They love it. I mean, God forbid the QAnons are coming out of the woodwork again. Like it's 2016, 2017 all over. When we go where we go one, we go all. Like, get ready for the nonsense. Like, I mean, when you have somebody like Elon who shares propaganda for Nazism and right-wing conspiracy theories, I mean, they're definitely bound to come out. It's bound to happen. So be prepared for that kind of nonsense. Shannon says, no, Politico is Antifa. Exactly. That's right.
It's like, when Elon Musk wanted to have a debate with Anthony Fauci on, vaccines or whatever. And this is like, here's the thing is, if you're not versed in crazy, then it's like you have people come up with these crackpot and dinglebat things. And it's like, okay, I did not spend all my time, like Dr. Fauci did not spend all his time studying junk science and non-peer reviewed things and wackadoodles conspiracy theories. Mm-hmm. Right. So then if somebody starts spouting off, reciting, some wackadoodle conspiracy theory that unless you're on the weirdest parts of the internet, you don't even know exists, and like that is completely deranged and debunkable in 1,000 different ways, but it's so crazy, nobody with any actual expertise that has time to do anything with it would actually try and do anything with it. And there was some study that had been done, and it was like one of the most quoted studies by the anti-vaxxers, And a guy that I don't
Mhm.
know if he was an immunologist or not, but he was a statistician. And
Right.
he had like this 100 tweet thread back a few years ago. That went through and just destroyed how the analysis was done. Like,
Mhm.
you know, picking apart, like, or like, putting together, like, this is what
Piecemealing
they
it
did to
together.
get to this conclusion, and this is why. This is completely irresponsible, statistically speaking.
Mhm.
Um, and I just like there's a reason we have peer review,
Sure.
and that's because not everybody can be an expert in everything. Like there are people that literally spend their whole lives in a thing, and they actually know what you're talking about. And if you do not know what you do not know, then you are fluent in but you're fluent in crackpot. You don't know that it's crackpot. You're like, oh, they're just afraid of the answers, and it's like, no, you just don't know what you're talking about. And
Yeah. I don't know,
so you've
Kelly.
devoted your idea that your entire worldview to the idea that there are right angles in a circle, and it's like, yeah, and it's like, no matter how many people try to convince you that there are no right angles in a circle, you saw a YouTube video where a guy
That's
said
right.
there were right angles in a circle, and so therefore there are right angles in a circle. And it's
There's
like,
too many confident
I'm
people
not
out
going to
there.
waste time arguing with you that there are no right angles in a circle, because that's what a circle is.
Yeah.
Like the kooks, I just don't have. I For a long time I would like try and like would like have some kind of civil discourse and have an honest engagement with them. But after a while, it's just I don't have time to chase down every crackpot, dingbat, knuckleberry, like just totally nonsensical theory that you have that you read on the internet or saw on a YouTube video. No, it's like it's a bunch of bullshit. Like, anyway, I have run out of patience for stuff
Yeah.
like Politico is a CIA app. No, it's not. Just go
No, it's
away.
not. But I mean, Kelly, there's people that are now helicopter experts and economic experts on the price of eggs, and they're experts, smarter than me, smarter than you and me combined. That they really know what's going on. So I don't know. Maybe we're
Yeah,
wrong.
it's like, oh, there was a great tweet. Um, or it was a Blue Sky post where I can't remember who it was. But it's a really good account. Um, and he was saying that he was on TikTok. He was kind of like,
Yeah. So, I know who you're talking about. It was Hank Green or something like that.
yeah, Hank
He
Green,
did
yeah.
a post about you don't know anything about helicopters, and some guy was like, "I'm a Black Hawk." Oh, he said 4 days ago on TikTok, "Stop speculating, you assholes. You know nothing about helicopter flying." Guy in business meeting with me today. I just wanted to say I used to fly a Black Hawk helicopter. Me, him, and I really appreciate your TikTok. Him, exactly.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, why
How
is it that we
can
can't
it not
actually
make that
have more
bigger?
respect for people that actually do the thing for a living?
Right.
That
Right.
they might know something that the guy, and you notice they're all like, oh, well, they like big pharma is just in it for the money. And it's like the guy that's telling you that vaccines don't work is selling you his $70 supplements that will keep you from getting COVID.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are they? They're just vitamin C tablets, but they're a special kind of vitamin C tablets that are extra fortified from bionic oranges or something like that. It's
Yeah, and that's the kind of guy we
they're
want working
always in it
in
for
human
money.
services.
Anytime somebody says that farm is in it for money, or somebody, of course pharmacy's in it for money.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean every pharmaceutical researcher is getting money off of it. Like, some people actually get into medicine because they're interested in helping other people. I know that's a shock,
Wow.
including like chemistry and
Unbelievable.
pharmacy stuff. Sometimes people get into, like, cancer research because they have loved ones that had cancer and they want to research it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's
I think
not everything is nefarious. And it's so easy to just
yeah,
say,
I think that's
oh,
a
well, they're
problem
in it
that
for money, so therefore there's something nefarious about it. Anyway.
No. See, that's the thing though. Big pharma, yeah, that it has people that are there for profit, but big pharma is a big blanket that covers the researchers, the doctors, the pharmaceutical people that are involved in making the medicine and running the tests, and the researchers. Not every, I'm less concerned about them than I am about, Robert F. Kennedy running the Department of Health and Human Services, or Dr. Oz getting his hands on things, who sells, just like you said, like $70, fix it all COVID ivermectin, God forbid, bleach spray, whatever the hell it is, like, I'm more concerned about those people. But
And the thing is, this is something people like don't understand, is it's like they'll talk about how much money this company made off of COVID vaccines, and it's like, first of all, those vaccines saved a lot of lives.
Right.
Like, a lot of people would be dead right now if it weren't for those COVID vaccines.
Yeah.
Secondly, when it comes to vaccine research, what they'll do to show how much money they made off of it is they'll look at that particular vaccine and how much money was invested in that particular vaccine to produce the research, and then how much money they made off of that particular vaccine. What they don't show is the cost of the 99 different vaccines that they put just as much money into that never worked, right? Like, it's not like the first thing out of the box works, or that everything, all the other. So there's a lot of research that just never comes to fruition in anything. And so it's like research and development can't just be attributed to the one that works. It has to be attributed to the entire program. So yes, pharmacies make money, but that's, as far as I heard, like, I don't understand why capitalists are all of a sudden very much against making money when it's like, vaccines.
Yeah. Agreed. And Jen, I don't know everything, but I listen to the experts. Exactly. And
I wish I knew what it was like to be good looking.
But no, Shannon, I think that's how we all should be. Where, the more that I learn, the more I learn that I don't know. And I wish more people had that mentality, or were able to realize the fact that, we don't all know everything. That's why we want to invite experts onto our show to be the experts, so that we can all hear things together. Which, speaking of, Kelly and I were talking yesterday about getting some more of our table talk, four-pronged sessions up and running again, for some upcoming shows. So, if you guys are added to our Discord channel, definitely, I don't know if I have done it yet, but I want to have a section where we've got a show ideas or topic discussions.
That's a great idea.
Our listeners are looking to have, and we will do everything we can to get the experts on these shows with us, and to talk about these issues, so that we can all learn something together. Because I think right now, knowledge is power all the time, but especially now when there's so much going on, that we can't be the expert in everything. So let's bring those people on to teach us, and we can all learn together.
So, Greg says he was a paramedic. So I'll just tell you this little story. My wife is a very slow, purposeful person, and I am a very quick person. Like, I tend to get things done first, quickly, but not always perfectly. Because and so we were like having this discussion about which way was better. And we have a friend who was he was a paramedic, but he also had an electrician's license, and he did some side work as an electrician. And so I figured out, I said, they both have their strengths. If you're a paramedic, if you have a paramedic, you want him to act quickly. Because you don't want them sitting there fussing over like the tiniest little details. If you're an electrician, you want them to fuss over the tiniest little details. Like, depending on which one you've got, it might depend on whether or not your life depends on it. So anyway, that was my boring little story. Did you just? Oh no, it's okay. So we're
No, I'm here.
just about coming up at the end of the program here.
We are.
Oh, but that okay. I did want to say, if you are an expert in DEI, like if you're a human resources person or something like that, that really knows what they're talking about with DEI, I'm diving into the DEI. I'm doing a whiteboard video on that, and we'd love to interview you. I think it's kind of become like people think of it as being the same thing as affirmative action, like it's just a new word for affirmative action, which it's an entirely different thing with an entirely different approach. And I would love to have like a human resources type person come on the show and really just explain what DEI actually is, how it's being turned into a pejorative when it's actually a very profitable type of thing that a number of large companies have used and become better as a result.
Yeah, definitely need to would like to get somebody on for that as well. And plus plenty of other topics. Like I said, and as we said at the top of the show, we opened up a Discord. We'll have it in the show notes. Feel free to join us there. You know, if you have suggestions on topics that you want to discuss, we want to get those shows and those episodes curated and ready to go so we can all learn about that stuff together. You know, Kelly also has, I'm sure, in the show notes or in your profile, the link to the Substack. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitter. And when you come to watch our show, if you are on Twitter or if you are on Facebook, joining us on YouTube really does help with our numbers so that we can continue to bring the show to you guys. And we look forward to seeing you guys for our Friday show.
So we'll see you tomorrow. And I hopefully next week, hopefully tomorrow, we'll hit the 3,000 mark. We're on pace.
Yeah. Woo! It'll be a happy Friday. See you guys.
Have a nice evening.